Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout of the evening. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
Around the world, we are live from the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham, and it is fight night. What a night we had here at the end of March. Heroics at the death from the hometown hero Lee Wood, who ground the brilliant Mcdonald to a halt in the most dramatic ending to a fight this year. With Wood out injured, the show must go on, and we're here tonight for another one. Chris Lloyd here alongside the former WBO super featherweight champion, one of Wales' finest, Barry Jones, and the current English heavyweight champion, perhaps soon to be British, Fabio Wardley, who'll challenge Nathan Gorman for the Lonsdale belt at heavyweight. We think, Fabio, later on this year?
A time of the day is pretty much the last few bits to sort out for that, but yeah, before the end of the year, me and Nathan should be going at it, going for the British title, and that's the big one for me. That's that real stepping stone, and the next one for me to get on and move myself into a serious position in the division.
Got a couple of fighters on the bill tonight, Barry. One on Before the Bell, one on the main card. Hannah Rankin and Rhiannon Dixon, both who, like Fabio, come from white-collar boxing backgrounds, and I think have surprised a few people just how competent this man is, given his lack of amateur experience.
Yeah, I think what's impressed me the most is his composure and any sort of pressure, because he hasn't got that wealth of amateur experience where you're used to being against awkward opponents or things not working out for you. But he never panics when things don't work out. He just goes through what he's been doing in the gym, and he always gets the results. I think he's been a bit of a revelation.
There you go, not bad. Not bad.
Oh, cheers, Baz. Thanks very much, mate.
We've got 8 bouts on the card tonight. Let's have a look at what's to come here. First on Before the Bell, Mohamed Samir, Peter Brulad up against well-travelled journeyman Dale Arrowsmith. Rhiannon Dixon and Adina Kiss are on the card as well, and I think, according to our graphic, but Janae Bostan is in action as well, and I know a lot of people are excited about that. We'll be talking about him a little bit later on. So 3 fights on Before the Bell between now and 7 o'clock when we go live on DAZN around the world. Cyrus Patterson, one of the former GB squad members, had a lot of bad luck in his first 2 or 3 contests, had opponents fall through between the weigh-in and the fight night itself, but he is in action tonight against Jorik Lusetto, who just went rounds with Florian Marku. Chevron Clark, his stablemate on GB, in action as well. Solomon Dakers, all 3 GB squad members in test tonight. Hannah Rankin and Terry Harper will do battle, and then the main event, Maxi Hughes and Kid Galahad. Maxi Hughes, what a role he has been on at 135 pounds, a real renaissance man. And well, Kid Galahad, after losing his 126-pound title so unceremoniously after 19 years of blood, sweat and tears to Kiko Martinez in the most dramatic of fashion, steps up 2 weight divisions. And Barry, talking about Kid Galahad stepping up not 1 but 2 weight divisions, we've seen Lee Selby do the exact same thing after losing his IBF world title to Josh Warrington a few years ago. Those 4 pounds just wouldn't have given him enough headroom. He had to come to 135, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he was already a massive featherweight, and to look at him now, he looked a bit drained on the scales. To see how he could have made featherweight 9 stone was quite amazing. So you're right, that 4 pound, that 9 pound, even that 9 pound, maybe not enough really to be fully recovered, but it gives him a bit of breathing space, a little bit more time to recover, and also more importantly, gives him more time in the camp to worry about the training rather than making the weight, and that's quite important.
Yeah, it certainly is. Chev Clark, Solomon Dakers, Fabio, somebody that has said he wants to target the English title, which of course you will vacate if you fight for the British. What you've seen of him so far, is he ready for that challenge?
Yeah, definitely. Soul, someone that's had a bit of a different path to myself. He's had that kind of GB pedigree. He's had that time before, so he can move a bit quicker. Whereas I moved into going for the English title in my 10th, 11th fight, something like that. Whereas he can jump in a bit earlier, 5, 6 fights in. And it's kind of, it feels the same for him, and I feel he's ready for that. He's had big fights in his amateur coming through, and testing yourself at that English level, someone good, someone competitive, is going to be that first kind of acid test for him in the pros. But I think he's more than ready for something like that.
And just moving on to our chief support, and I mentioned of Kid Galahad moving up in weight. Terry Harper has gone up an unbelievable 24 pounds. Of course, lost the 130 pound title to Alicia Baumgartner, who was supposed to be in action a couple of weeks ago, will be in a couple of weeks' time. Has come up 24 pounds to 154. There's a lot of talk in the week of would she be big enough? How would she fare? She looks pretty good at the weight, doesn't she, Barry?
Yeah, again, another boxer you can't believe they ever made 9 stone 4, but yeah, she looked big, I think, especially around the legs. It looks like she put a bit of weight on there to maybe for more power, but she's up against Hannah Rankins on a real good run at the minute, and you think that Terry Harper might be the better school boxer, but she's up against an experienced campaigner who's, not forget, Hannah Rankin was formerly boxing as super middle.
Yep.
And in with the likes of Clarissa Shields, of course, so she knows her way around the ring better than most in that division.
Certainly does. Okay, gents, well, that's a little preview of tonight and all the action to come here in Nottingham. And remember, there is plenty of action to come on DAZN over the next few weeks as well.
Now, entering the arena, Eubank Jr.
He is a hurtful puncher.
A sensational finish. Diaz is a top 5 lightweight.
Fight worthy of the occasion.
Strong, he's a natural light heavyweight.
Montana. The fight starts now.
So that's all to come on DAZN over the next few weeks. And right here in Nottingham, we are almost ready to get the action underway here on Before the Bell. And martial ceremonies, you'll just be able to see David Diamante, the ever-present figure, making his way into the centre of the ring, ready to introduce the first fighters on Before the Bell here to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Motor Point Arena here in Nottingham, England for a big night of boxing action. Begin tonight with a 4-round middleweight affair set to make his ring walk. Fighting out of Hyde, please welcome Dale Aerosmith.
Dale Aerosmith is part of a younger crop of journeymen coming through who've come to underpin the sport in the last 5 years or so. Historically, Aerosmith's boxed at middleweight, but he's had a handful this year at 160, 154 as well. Depends on the notice for him, really. Can make 154 without too much hassle on a couple of weeks' notice. Speaking to Rich Farn and Hannah Rankin's cut man tonight, and Lewis Van Pucci's coach. Pucci's hanging him up for good next year. 163 fights and counting. Aerosmith at 28 has already racked up 71 fights. This is number 15 this year. He's got 3 weekends blocked between now and October the 8th.
And now making his way to the ring, please welcome Mohammed Samir.
Mohammed Samir, an exciting young switch hitter from Peterborough, was watching his debut against Scott Hill in December 2019, just before the pandemic. Brought a really good crowd with him. Had a long time out, as so many fights as did in 2020. He had 3 full camps in between his first and his second fight, with a number of dropouts and cancellations. So he's had to learn the value of patience the hard way in the early stages of his pro career. Tonight will be by far the biggest opportunity of his life. Eddie Hearn watchful eye ringside, and he'll know this is his opportunity to impress as a fledgling professional.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome to the Motorpoint Arena here in Nottingham, England. We are live on DAZN for a big night of World Championship Professional Boxing. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, FCI Markets, and JD Sports. All of tonight's bouts are sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. The steward in charge is Mr. Martin Flory. Introducing your third man in the ring at the sound of the bell for our first contest, from Twickenham, A-star referee, Mr. Marcus Mcdonald. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 4 rounds of boxing scheduled in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the silver trim. This 71-fight veteran, scaled 11 stone, 5 pounds, 9 ounces. Fighting out of Hyde, Lancashire, please welcome the choir boy, Dale Aerosmith. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the black trunks with the gold lettering. He scaled 11 stone, 4 pounds, 8 ounces. His young professional record thus far perfect, 4 fights, 4 victories, one of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Peterborough, please welcome Muhammad SMG Samir.
Right, Dale Mohammed, you both know the rules of boxing. Don't explain them to you. Obey my instructions all times, watch your heads, keep it clean. Any questions? Let's go to work.
Well, you can hear at this early stage of the evening, Mohamed Samir has already brought in a decent number of support. He brought nearly 450 for his debut. Dale Aerosmith, well-travelled circuit fighter in front of him. The art of professional survival, but Samir can punch a little bit, just finds a right hand man the side of the guard already.
It's a nice snappy jab, isn't it? There from Samir, good work. Taking the centre of the ring now and just trying to force some mistakes there out of Aerosmith.
Not rushing anything, nice and comfortable, which is good, which you like to see. And there you go, that switch stance there.
Yeah, early hallmark of his professional style, very comfortable on the switch as well, just trying to make that space feel small for Dale Aerosmith. Just hooks off the jab there, and little warning from the referee, just one slap behind the head. No intent though, and back to centering they go.
It's good to see from Samir that he's still so calm and controlled and relaxed, because him having such a fan base here, you can hear him, they're screaming and shouting his name already, and he's staying calm, cool, composed, which is great to see for someone who's starting out in their career.
The range adjustment there, just as he landed that jab.
Just needs a little feint now before he lets his hands go. That's good work though, good right hook there over the top.
Just look for a little corkscrew uppercut off that front foot. Step in a few moments ago as well, and already having some success. Just another right hand lead, skims off the guard. And Aerosmith he's a busy man, been out, as I said, 15 times already this year, in against some decent prospects. He'll know the kind of quality of the fighter he's in with. He'll know he can't take liberties. He's got a number of fights blocked in over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And it'll be for Mohamed Samir to unpick him over these next 4 rounds if he can.
But to do it as he's doing it now, not to rush your work, and you see so many times when prospects get frustrated by journeymen who tire them out, don't give them any gaps, they get frustrated, make mistakes.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the thing, not getting sucked in. He's not getting sucked into the crowd here. He's not getting sucked into Aerosmith. Being quite competent, who's comfortable under pressure, situations like this, like you're seeing. He's not overreaching, overstepping, which is good to see.
Lands a little more solid lead uppercut that time and follows up behind it with just 10 seconds to go in this first round, and a smile from Aerosmith. You would have felt some of those. Well, Barry, he knew that he had to impress in his first round in front of Eddie Hearn live. I think he's done a pretty good job, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did. And, what Fabio was saying, he didn't rush his work. He was nice and calm with it, but also took the centre of the ring. Was positive with everything he did. He threw a few feints now and again, but mainly tapping with the jab. First of all with the left, and he switched his stance, of course, to southpaw, and jumping in with that right hook from distance. And I just made Aerosmith defensively, act defensively from the offset. And I think that's a good sign there for Samir. He set his stall out early, and I think that will impress the promoter, of course.
Dale Aerosmith there is a number of his friends in action tonight. Another journeyman, Jamie Quinn, as well. He's got a few blocked in over the next few weeks. He'll pass 150 fights. I think October 22nd is Liam Jones in Oldham. Islington's Jordan Grannon passed the 100 mark earlier on this year. He's in action tonight at York Hall too. There's a little army of them all over the country, taking prospects through their paces, and I know he's in with a decent prospect in Mohamed Samir already.
I like that left there from Samir. He just come out and just hooked off the jabbers. That's a combination we don't really see anymore, but just tapped into the jab, whacked the left hook on the side of the guard.
Raking right hand just under that elbow, and see the response there from Aerosmith. Has just brought the hand down, and again Samir on the switch, keeping him guessing, firing in that fast jab, body shot with the left hand that time as well.
Again though, just a little feint just gives him a space. Aerosmith will work with that. He'll cover it probably. He'll take a little half step back. That just gives Samir then a little space there just to judge the distance right, and then let his hands go.
Yeah, definitely. A little twitch, a little feint will give him that little half a second just to pick something else, pick a different spot. You saw there when he went to the body, he brought Aerosmith's hands down to open up that head a bit more. So if he can touch and twitch and feint a bit more, he might find a few more openings.
Aerosmith has got his eyes locked on Samir, trying to keep the hands high and tight, trying to fire back when he can, but he's on the end of some sharp, long-range work, and Samir adjusting the distance in between his punches too, not giving Aerosmith any opportunities really on the return so far. Just missed with that faint jab, then a right hand behind it, jabs through the guard again.
I think the jab's fantastic from Samir, because he's throwing it from the hip, which means they're always hard to read, but they usually lack a little bit of power. But because he's stepping with the front foot when he throws it, there's a bit of weight behind that shot.
By the time he does get any kind of read on it, he switched stances anyway, giving him a different look altogether. Really good first couple of rounds this from Mohamed Samir as a minute to go ticks over on the clock of the second round.
Just there in them situations, a little twitch will give him such an opening.
I agree with you. A good shot.
Starting to just turn the screw a little bit with 40 seconds on the clock here, and Aerosmith just fires a left hook back, lands the best clean shot he's landed in the contest so far. Just a wake up for Samir there, but that was a left hook with a little more intent that time, wasn't it? And he's now got the hands low, shimmy in the shoulders, leads with the left hand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me and Barry know.
I like when he turns southpaw as well. He keeps that foot on the outside. You just see him throw a double jab there, but he moved to the right as well as he advanced forward. Showing the good flashy work there from Samir there, switching stance, the hands low, flicking the shots in. There's that right hand over the top that caused Aerosmith just a little bit of concern. Nothing too heavy, but he felt it, had to cover it up and regroup there.
So on the left of the screen, Bobby Mills, who is training Samir these days, another excellent young coach. He's the man in charge of the Pee-wee Boxing Club in Brixton. His main charge, Isaac Chamberlain, who put in that brilliant performance, so spirited in some big moments against Chris Billam-Smith in August, that broken orbital bone that he sustained midway through the fight. And Isaac, if you are watching, we wish you a full recovery. A good stable around him at the gym in Brixton, and he's putting on a good show so far. Into the third we go. This variation of the tempo and the pace of the shots as well, Barry.
Yeah, there is a change of pace, and you just see it. Just after you said that he did it, he touched with that left hand and then whipped the right hand with so much speed over the top. And he's busy as well, isn't he? He doesn't have to be busy here because he's up against a journeyman who's not going to throw much back, so he can take his time a little bit. But he wants to be busy. He's trying to force the openings, not just hope they create themselves.
And Fabio, you can hear the thud of the shots even when they're coming off the gloves. Not big men these, but it's certainly some pop in his shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of whip. You can see, you can even watch when he's whipping them shots, even from low, like you see here, his hands are low, and when he brings that there, like something like that, you hear that thud of that big hit right there. So there's impact there, they're landing.
Looks for that corkscrew from southpaw again. Arrowsmith just wise to it. He's got the elbows closed up down the middle. And he is keeping high and tight right now because he knows he can't afford to take one clean. Has to survive and see out the rounds to box again next weekend and the weekend after too. Lovely fizzing right hand there from Samir around the side of the guard, just putting an arc on it, looking for that uppercut in the orthodox stance now. Stiff jab through the middle. Starting to put a little bit more meat on these shots as well. But Arrowsmith is holding centre ring here.
Arrowsmith every now and then just does a little bit, just to keep him honest, just to keep him guessing and not let him completely run away with the fight.
I'm not a lover of that lean over. And I know it's a shot that Nazim Hammer used to throw, lean over and jump in with that corkscrew uppercut, but there's so many things that can go wrong.
I was just going to say, you can be so vulnerable in that position. Yeah.
And also, when you're boxing at this level against journeymen, you'll pick up bad habits maybe. I just think that Samir's boxing tremendously well, doing everything he wants, and it's all working for him. Just be aware that some of these things that he is trying might not work as he steps up the levels. What will work is the work rate, a good jab. And when he turns southpaw, that right hook over the top, a real good weapon for him.
Well, we saw Junaid Bostan make his Matchroom card debut on Before the Bell a few weeks ago, and he too brought a decent number of people to watch, perform well, slick switch hitter. We'll see him again on Before the Bell because he's now signed to Matchroom Boxing, and for Mohamed Samir, this kind of performance with a decent number of tickets shifted this early on in the afternoon, all the right things that Eddie Hearn will like to see from a young prospect, and another whipping right hand just comes around the side of the guard and then sticks one down the middle. Arrowsmith just drops the guard momentarily with 10 seconds to go in this third round.
When you fall, so up then, bam, 3 shots every time. Yeah, I think it's like that. People like it when you're driving back,
Some of the action for the previous round, he's varying up the backhand, obviously from southpaw, Barry, from orthodox too. He's whipping the right hand round the side of the guard, throwing it down the middle off the jab. But it's the variation that's the problem for Arrowsmith, isn't it?
He looks better than when I watched him on the internet, and he looks better now than when I saw him doing my research. He looks much better. I think, as Fabio was saying, I don't think there's loads of weight in his shots. There's that whip and snap that you will feel it.
Down to 4th and final round.
We expect Dale Arrowsmith to go safety first in this round, as Mohamed Samir will want to put a punctuation on a very good performance for the fans that have come out to watch him. And again, just the second left hook that he's been caught with, just staying a little bit too long in front of his man, dropping the lead hand.
Again, just Aerosmith keeping him honest, just keeping him guessing in certain situations, which tried not to get too carried away with.
Well, Fabio, you and I have spoken about your sometimes slightly slower than expected starts, and you've been caught with probably the hardest shots you've been caught with in those first couple of minutes. It's a worthwhile reminder.
Yeah, definitely. When I comment on these things, I'm speaking from experience as someone that's been known to start slow every now and then, and you have to be switched on, like, especially, like I said, from heavyweight perspective, but from any weight down. These shots are whipping and thudding, and there was a left hook in there early in the rounds that caught him, and that if he didn't have a stronger chin or if his feet were in a worse off position, that's a knockdown or that's uncomfortable.
You saw Kid Galahad, a brilliant switch hitter himself, a smooth operator who was well in control of Kiko Martinez in his world title defence, his first title defence at the end of last year, and just got caught pulling out of range with his hands down, and only takes one shot in boxing. But right now it's unlikely to come for Dale Arrowsmith with a minute 30 on the clock as Mohamed Samir just steps around the outside looking to double that jab up, but Arrowsmith just lands to the body, trying to put some pressure on him now.
Yeah, that was good from Samir just a second ago. He doubled the jab, the second jab then. The first jab didn't really hit, the second jab just pushed Arrowsmith back, and that created the space there for that nice long left hand that he found a home for. I think he's boxed really well. He's been nice and relaxed, and he's forced the pace, dictated the pace. Even when he's on the back foot, he's the one really controlling it.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's picked his shots really well. He's tried different variations. He probably hasn't gone to the body as much as maybe you maybe like to see. There's been opportunities for that. But the switching's been effortless, and I think he's boxed really well.
That's the thing with this switching, it's not forced at all. You can see it in him that it's very comfortable. He just naturally moves through them two positions, and nothing's too. He's not overexerting himself. He's not trying too hard. It's very comfortable to see.
Yeah, I think the big tell is that you don't really notice when he switches, Barry. You suddenly go, oh, he's orthodox.
Yes, that's really, and he does it when he takes a step back. He keeps the back foot there. He doesn't skip back with his 2 feet. Yeah, he just takes the front foot back, and that just switches him naturally. And you can punch off that as well, by the way, if a fighter advances forward.
I remember Kevin Mitchell did the same a few years ago. Reverse switch and then the uppercut from the rear hand, I think from southpaw. Unbelievable shot. Always sticks in the memory, and there he is, just right on cue, just switches on the front foot, lands a left hook, jabs to the body of Arrowsmith, just putting that punctuation on. A really good 4 rounds, doubles the right hand, and Dale Arrowsmith hands down, takes the shots. Is he hurt, or is he just playing a bit of kidology there? Really good finish too. A really entertaining 4 rounds between these two. Credit to Arrowsmith for holding his own in there, firing back when he could, but that was comprehensive for young Mohamed Samir. He will no doubt move to 5-0 as a young professional, and you can't ask for much more than that, can you?
No, I think he boxed really well. Again, it's all about, it's Fabio mentioned at the beginning of the fight about, just staying calm. You got a bit of a decent little crowd here. Keeping your composure, keeping your shape, keeping your concentration, which is important, which is what he did throughout those 4 rounds. Only the last sort of 10 seconds when he lost his shape a little bit, when he thought he hurt Arrowsmith. But apart from that, always focused, knew what he was doing, knew where he was at all times. If any little, when a punch came back, he very, he rode it or saw it enough to block it. And I thought he was really, really composed, really good, and I think he's one to watch.
Okay, scores are ready. David Diamante is standing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds here at the Motor Point Arena in Nottingham, we go to referee Marcus McDonald's scorecard. It reads 40-36 for your winner. He's still undefeated, Mohamed Samir.
Yep, shuts out from Mohamed Samir in really good fashion. And another 4-rounder for the British middleweight, moves to 5-0 now with 1 by way of stoppage. See Tony Bellew in the background there with Eddie Hearn. They'll know that they've just watched a very, very good young prospect, and the man in his corner, Bobby Mills, now on his left, will be very, very happy with the way he's progressing as well, no doubt. The 2 more fights to come on Before the Bell. Rhiannon Dixon and Adina Kiss up next, but here's the story of the fight. He was in control from the start, wasn't he, Barry?
Yeah, well, he set his stall very early, didn't he? He took the centre of the ring, tried to push Arrowsmith back with a solid jab. Switch, that was the shot for him. That right, whether he was southpaw or orthodox, that right hand over the top, always found a home behind the glove of Arrowsmith. Controlled it with ease. I think he boxed really well, intelligent with his work, didn't get flustered at all. And even though he was busy, Never rushed any punchy through, never rushed his work. That's a really good, for his development, that's a nice good learning fight for him. I think that him and his corner will be happy with that result and that performance.
Certainly will. Well, that's first fight of 8 here in Nottingham, done and dusted tonight. Remember, we'll be going live on the broadcast at 7 o'clock tonight. But also remember, there's plenty of action to come on DAZN. Here is what is coming up in October. So lots to come over the next month or so on DAZN right here in Nottingham. We've got 7 fights left, 2 more on Before the Bell before we start the live broadcast at 7 o'clock. Chris Lloyd here with Barry Jones and Fabio Wardley. Welcome to those of you who have just joined us. Lots coming up tonight. Headline, of course, Maxi Hughes and Kid Galahad. And Maxi Hughes, guys, is somebody, a renaissance man who's rebuilt on the small hall show. 5 domestic defeats at a much lower level than he's boxing tonight. And I spoke to him earlier on this week, and I said there must have been times where you believed that this just wasn't going to happen, and he said absolutely. But the link up with Sean O'Hagan 3 years or so ago has seemingly brought the best out of him. And Barry, it's strange how sometimes fighters just blossom in their early 30s. He's in his prime now, isn't he?
Oh, he certainly is, and he looked like a guy for me, like for everyone, he's just never going to get over the line domestically. Over that British stuff, he was good enough to maybe win a British title, just bad luck against the opponents he came up against. But I was lucky enough to do his 2 really breakout fights, and that was John O'Carroll, when he really came of age that night.
He was brilliant that night.
He was brilliant. And also when he boxed Viktor Kotochnikov over in Dubai.
Yes.
And and that they were really pushing Kotochnikov. A Kazakhstan boxer, of course, really talented amateur, and he wiped the floor with it. I mean, he hit. How Kotochnikov got up with the shot that Maxi hit with it, I don't know. But he got to a clear points victory, and you can just see the confidence in Maxi Hughes. And you know that. You went. You're getting it now. You've got some stand-up performances already in your career. And you feel another level, don't you, all of a sudden?
Yeah, you get this buzz, this little aura about you. There's nothing you can pin down. There's nothing really you can put on it. It's an extra gear. It's an extra sense of, no, you know what? I can do this. I can go that extra. I can take that bigger fight. I can do that bit more, and you feel that puffed up chest about yourself. So yeah, it's great to see from Maxi.
Yeah, you can sense that in Maxi Hughes. Conversely, Kid Galahad, 19 years of so much hard work to finally reach the mountaintop. A brilliant performance against Jazza Dickens at Fight Camp. It was almost death by 1,000 cuts. That was him at his very best. But what we saw yet again, as if we needed a reminder that one shot can change anything. And we knew he was struggling at 126. I don't think he necessarily knew just how much until that shot landed and it was all over for him. This is the right move for him. We could see a completely rejuvenated fighter in Kid Galahad tonight, couldn't we?
Yeah, he's quite systematic. When he's on form, as he was just, he's systematic. He systematically goes to work and takes you apart. And like you said, he's like a death in 1,000 cuts. He picks you to pieces. It's quite terrific actually to watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But also really talented. But with his sort of style and all that Ingle style, it's brilliant and almost impossible to fight against. But when it goes wrong dramatically. Because with your hands low and just using judgment and moving the distance and not really using your hands to guard the block shots, then you are a target to be hit. And if you get it wrong, certainly against a big puncher like a Martinez who will dip his head low and throw a big right hand over the top, then you might get caught. And by the way, he's nowhere near. It's a totally different style in Maxi Hughes. There's a bigger guy. Maybe doesn't punch as hard, but he does throw a good right hand over the top.
Yeah, we saw against Giovanni Straffon, teaked-up Mexican who went through James Tennyson like a knife through butter at the beginning of last year. He has got a little bit of proper batting. He hurt Straffon badly in the 5th round, had him all over the place, and I think that's given him a renewed sense of belief that he can hurt these opponents, not just outbox them over the distance. But we know both fighters are ready. Galahad looks a fresher fighter on the scales. He's looked drawn in the last 2 or 3, and well, at 135 he looks full, he looks fresh. What sort of performance is that going to translate to in our main event later on tonight? Well, before the bell, we had one fight down already. Mohamed Samir winning a shutout over 4 rounds. Next up, Rhiannon Dixon and Adina Kiss to do battle over 6 to bring them to the ring. Here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 6 rounds in the lightweight division, set to make a ring walk. Please welcome Adina Kiss.
Well, Adina Kiss has been a go-to away corner fighter for some of the world's top female fighters in the last 4 or 5 years. She's assumed a kind of gatekeeper role in women's boxing between 122 and 135. I think it's fair to say she fits that description. Always accepts tough fights at short notice. She's willing to travel, always comes to win as well. And although in her 30 bouts the wins and losses have been split straight down the middle, she's been in with some of the very best. She's done the distance twice with Cindy Serrano, been in with Shannon O'Connell, Shelley Vincent, Heather Hardy twice apiece as well. The only women to stop her have been Amanda Serrano, Michaela Mayer, and very recently Lucy Wildheart after a long spell of inactivity. But on her game, she could be a real handful. And someone in the position of Rhiannon Dixon, a fledgling pro, she will have to be on her game here in Nottingham tonight.
And now, entering the arena, please welcome the undefeated southpaw from Warrington, Rhiannon Dixon. Ladies and gentlemen, from Nottingham, England, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, FCI Markets, and JD Sports. Introducing your 3rd man in the ring at the sound of the bell, from Twickenham, A-star referee, Mr. Marcus Mcdonald. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the pink trunks with the black trim. She scaled 9 stone, 8 pounds, 4 ounces. Her professional record, 15 victories, 15 defeats, with 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Budapest, Hungary, please welcome Adina DNA Kiss. And her opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. She wears the black trunks with the blue trim. She scaled 9 stone, 8 pounds, 9 stone, 8 pounds, 8 ounces. Her professional record, 5 victories, no defeats. She fights out of Warrington. Here's the undefeated southpaw, Rhiannon Dixon.
Right, you both know the rules of boxing. I don't explain them to you. One thing I will say, obey my instructions at all times, watch your heads and keep it clean. Any questions? Let's go to work.
Seconds out, round 1.
Right, away we go. Second contest of the night here on Before the Bell. Chris Lloyd alongside Barry Jones and current English heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley. Adina Kiss, the away fighter in the pink with the red gloves. Rhiannon Dixon operating out of Southport, all in black with the blue trim. And well, Darren Barker and I, we'll hear Darren of course on the broadcast a little bit later on. We're out in...
I wonder how long it take you to mention Darren
Well, not
Barker.
long, only about 10. I'm contractually obliged. We went out to Germany during the height of the pandemic to call Breeders' Dorticos behind closed doors, and Adina Kiss was there to take through a young prospect, Sophie Alish from Germany, who many of you will be aware of, and Alish has been highly touted by the Sauerlands and very well schooled, but Both Darren and I came away from that feeling that Adina Kiss had done more than enough to take victory. It's not always pretty, her work, but she is handy. She comes to fight, comes to win, and if prospects aren't on their game, she will put you to the test, and she will always stand and trade with you as she is doing so now. But Dixon picking some nice, sharp singles in these first couple of minutes.
She is. She's just got to be careful what's coming back, though, hasn't she, there, Dixon? See with Kiss, and she's been in with top quality, maybe one of the best women boxers, clearly one of the best women boxers out there, and Amanda Serrano. So, she won't shy away when someone's throwing punches at her, of course.
No, I think that's what you can see straight away. She's not shy in the slightest. She's happy to throw. She's happy to mix it in those in-between moments. She came out very strong, really stuck it on. So for someone like Rhiannon, who's new and fresh in, this might be a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, punching with her, and already just a little bit of marking over the corner of the right eye of Rhiannon Dixon. Nice stiff jab from her there, in and out with it.
Yeah, the feet there, the foot went with it, didn't it? She takes a it's a lovely jab again there from Dixon. She takes a step back, Dixon, but if she just turned and she's southpaw, take that right foot and just pivot to the right, rather than take that step then, on the outside, and you can go again with your attack.
Competitive opening round as Anthony Corner sits Rhiannon Dixon down in her corner. And the man will be opening the show at 7 o'clock tonight is former Olympic squad member Cyrus Patterson. I think that was a Jaffa cake, and he's earned it. First time making £147, not an ounce of fat on the man, and refueled, rehydrated and ready to go after desperately unlucky first 12 months. He had 2 opponents fall through between the weigh-in and the fight night itself, but he's had adversity all his life, not a man to complain. He's in against Jorik Lissetto in a 10-rounder tonight. Lissetto went the distance on 10 days notice with Albanian Florian Marku, who's a different sort of southpaw to Cyrus Patterson. Heavier handed, a little bit more route one. Patterson will have to be on his game tonight. His first international belt on the line, and he is bang up for the challenge. That will open proceedings just after 7 o'clock here on DAZN. Right here into round number 2 of 6. Rhiannon Dixon out of southpaw. Adina Kiss with the red gloves. Dixon just lands a 2-punch combination, gets in and out.
Yeah, she had a good first round there, Dixon, but there's a little bit of a reddening around the top of the right eye, just a testament of, just to be aware what's come back and the effort that she will make here, Kiss.
And Adina Kiss is the wider shots, but she's looking to pull the trigger the moment that Dixon steps in. So she's just catching her. That's the left hook, almost kind of not a check hook as such, but just a counter as Dixon steps to her every time she does step into range. It's just a little bit of blood on the right shoulder of Dixon.
Dixon's found the most success when she gets in and gets out quick, when she gets them long shots off, gets in, gets out, because Adina's always looking to go as soon as she goes. So when she pops in with 1 or 2 and then pops straight out, it works well for her. But in them little clashy moments there, she can find herself falling into kind of Adina's game where it gets a bit scrappy.
And that's why you always say, what you do after the punch is almost as important as the punches themselves, because you don't want to be there to be hit. But she's found a shot that's going to win her the fight, and that's that jab.
Yeah.
So because she's an aggressive fighter, she wants to do more work. But just keep popping that jab, frustrate Kiss, and then force her to make the mistakes and walk onto shots. That's lovely, really good.
Yeah, so you're working there perfectly.
Right on cue, yeah, just stepped around her with off that lead hand.
That's the thing, Chris. Spot on there, Chris. Stepped around it, didn't step back. Stepped in with the jab and then just took a little angle back out.
And I did wonder with Adina Kiss whether inactivity and a little bit of ring rust might have accumulated. She's had 30 fights in her first kind of 5 years as a pro, and then I mentioned that the Sophie Alish contest on the Breeders' Daughter Course undercard. She's only boxed once since then, and did expect to maybe see her looking a little flatter than she did, and she is doing, if I'm being quite honest, but she is what she always has been. She's rugged, she's ready to throw down and try and take advantage of any opportunities in front of her. Just Rhiannon Dixon maybe just starting to settle into a little bit of a rhythm there in the second round.
Well, she found a punch, that the punch doesn't give it all the success, and that's that right jab. As Fabio was saying, when she's in these sort of exchanges, she's having success, but she's having to take a punch back.
Yeah.
So when she throws that jab in and out, the straight shots, keeps it nice and long, it's an easier night. And possibly an easy night, because you said Kiss is a little bit maybe ring rusty, but she needs you to be close to be effective. And just don't give her a lot of that space to get to you.
Minden jogutok keresztül lehetne, ha te kezdesz, akkor elvernék. Beledest a támadáskába, most nincs jó volt eddig. Légy szíves, jó?
Good movement there from Dixon, lovely little pivot in the front foot.
Stinging left hand off
Really
that
nice.
combination. Just a momentary reaction from Medina Kiss. She seems to have her legs underneath her though. Best shot of the contest, and a lovely little step around and a lead hook there from southpaw again.
And I think that's why that left hand had an effect, because she is standing on the outside, and that means that Kiss is going to have to try to square it up. When she turns her body, she's square and takes the shot flush. It's a lovely display this from Dixon. Sometimes less is more. You know, and they're not trying to rush her work, trying to throw all those punches. It means the cleaner work and the better shots are prevailing.
And Fabio too, you know yourself, boxing is so much about adjustments. When you see somebody with this lack of experience relative to so many of the cohort around her coming up through the female ranks, but able to make these kind of adjustments round to round, when that first round was a little tricky for her. She could have got a bit flustered, but she didn't. She's started to make those adjustments. It's good to see, isn't it? It's a good sign.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's what you want to see in someone up and coming and coming through. That first round was a bit hairy, was a bit rough. Adina came out firing, and can sometimes these early prospects can get caught like a deer in headlights and wouldn't expect in something like that. But Rhiannon's made the right adjustments. Her feet are nice and sharp. That jab's working well, and she seems to be finding, there you go, perfect. Yep. Finding a bit of rhythm now and just finding them shots that are working for her. Not rushing, didn't get frustrated at all, and nice and calm.
Medina Kiss just landed a right hand down the middle while you're talking there. She's drawn another little stream of blood from the nose of Rhiannon Dixon, as she did in the previous round. She's still there, still competitive. Punching at the same time. Lovely lead right hook to the body from Dixon.
Jó, mert ezt volt, de felindul lett inkább. Tegzően nem mondanám, hogy általában az jó.
Well, tough game, and these are the kind of fights that she needs to have if she's going to progress up through the levels, Barry.
Yeah, but I think she's had to adapt really early. That's a lovely left hand, and again, because that front foot's in the right place there, it's on the outside of the left foot there to Kiss, and then she hits a square on and flush. But I think the discipline, especially in the last two rounds from Dixon, will be fantastic. She tried to box a normal style in the first round, had to readjust a little bit because she was taking a few shots. And it's been a relatively easy second and third round for her.
Yeah, that's the thing for it. Discipline is knowing when to, you know what, I have to change up here and I have to make adjustments, and being comfortable in yourself to do that, and also obviously listening to Qualla in the corner, her trainer.
And if she is to progress up the European rankings, it's a fairly well packed list of names. Katerina Tanders, Bruiser Sharapova up there as well, who was in a hell of a scrap with Katie Taylor. Terry Harper's at number one. Of course, I think that's probably a little outdated. They'll have to update that in a few weeks' time, and there's an opportunity for her. Champion Jelena Janasiviec.
Some good body shots here from Dixon. Just dipping the legs there and throwing that straight left hand right on the middle. Again, we've got to keep that discipline though. She's having success pushing Kiss back for the first time of the fight, but still, don't rush your work, don't get too greedy on your success.
Yeah, don't get too sucked in. Don't keep your feet in them positions, because that's where Adina gets a bit of success.
I think she's boxing really well here, Dixon. Lovely, nice and controlled. And as you said, Chris, she's in with a girl here who given an opportunity, will give you a hard night's work. But she's shut her down with the jab for me.
Yeah, if Adina Kiss can beat you, she will, put it that way. And that's a lovely left hand, just took her head off the line there, and they both threw at the same time, but Dixon was the one that landed. She sticks the left hand behind it down the middle. Kiss just trying to buy herself a little bit of space with the jab, locks her up now. Starting to feel this.
Get out. Let go. Well done.
And just for the first time in the contest, Dixon just starting to impose herself physically on Adina Kiss here. The right hook, left hand down the middle, and they tie up again. Kiss just trying to buy herself a breather with 25 seconds on the clock, and Dixon trying to pull herself free. Got to be careful in those moments, though.
the thing with Dixon, and she's having loads of success, but this is how she likes to fight, isn't it? She wants to be aggressive, throw lots of shots. Also, lovely jab again from Dixon. The right southpaw jab has been beautiful from her tonight, really has.
It was Dixon who was marking up just by the corner of the right eye at the start of the contest. They've kept that to a minimum, and it's Adina Kiss under the left eye now, is showing the marks of battle.
Certain fighters, they wait for the bell. That's not a true warrior. A true warrior will wait until the referee rips you apart.
I've been in many defining moments in my career.
Dylan White fight, which was a straight out war.
These are all times that will add to the legacy.
Oh, so he's getting up from that.
It was tough, but it made me.
Anthony Joshua looking to rebuild it. Heavyweight, still so many questions to be answered over his career. Where will he go next? Can they get the Tyson Fury fight over the line? Seems unlikely here, but there are plenty of big fights for him down the line. We're into round number 5 here, business end of proceedings between Rhiannon Dixon, who started to impose herself on, again, Adina Kiss, who's firing back, punching with her as she has been throughout the contest. But just the cleaner work starting to now show and pay dividends for Rhiannon Dixon, and the marking and the scars of war. Lovely left hand shoveled down the middle again, is starting to show on the face of the away fighter.
Again, that jab, it's the jab, I keep saying it, but the jab is just doing everything for her. She doesn't need to get close. No, she's having a success, but she did take a right hand there earlier on in one of those exchanges that she didn't need to take.
She can use that jab to suck Adina in and let Adina fall in, let Adina make a mistake, and then counter off that.
That's good though, good vision there from Dixon.
Oh, making her fall short with ease there, leaning back and countering. Stiff right hook counter as well on the second phase, and Adina Kiss is hurt here with 50 seconds on the clock, and Rhiannon Dixon sensed the moment there. Can she capitalise on it? Hasn't got a lot of time on the clock.
It's a thudding right hook, wasn't it, there from Dixon? Kiss, she was she's holding.
Right above our commentary position, you felt the full force of it. Well, I think Adina Kiss felt the full force of it. We certainly heard it. But 30 seconds to go on the clock, and Dixon now lasering in, knows that she's got an opportunity here, sinks another left hand in. Adina Kiss is a tough woman, as I mentioned, only stopped 3 times in her 30-fight career. Is Rhiannon Dixon closing in on becoming the force? She's been extremely good company. Amanda Serrano and Michaela Mayer amongst them. Kiss looking laboured now, but still, as she does, firing back, willing to go out on her shield. Rhiannon Dixon fizzes another left hand down the middle.
She knows all the tricks how to survive, doesn't she? Kiss, stay nice and low and hold him when she can. But what a round that was for Dixon.
What a round, a seminal round. She's just been slowly turning the tide as the contest has gone on. Let's listen into the corner. Yeah, just making a miss. That was the beautiful counter, wasn't it, Barry? And just the fatigue of Kiss setting in there as she lunged in into no man's land.
It's a telegraph shot to throw. But Dixon still had enough of a power to see it, take that half a step back and come back there with that powerful shot. And it was a right hook in here somewhere that really shook Kiss to her boots.
Well, she did very well to stay on her feet. Can she survive another 2 minutes? She looks quite composed, given what she went through in those last 2 minutes. Rhiannon Dixon knows she's in full control here. Remember when Anthony Collar was first aware that he was doing some coaching, he came up to Jamie Moore's gym with Alex Dilmajani for sparring with Carl Frampton, and just remember listening in and thinking he's got the makings of a really, really good coach, Crawler. The right kind of demeanour in the corner, knowledge of the game as well, and he's helped his fighter just navigate potentially a tricky contest here, make some adjustments, and into this 6th and final round, Rhiannon Dixon in full control, and another stiff jab comes down the middle, left hand to the body.
It's not like Colin had 2 careers. One as a boxer and one as an aggressive counter, a box fighter. Sorry. So he's had he's boxed a range of styles. He knows what you have to do in different situations.
Dixon just taking that head off the line after she threw, making Adina Kiss miss.
You know what this is from Dixon up to this point? Boxing can throw some silly things at you. Mature.
And Fabio looks like she's trying to draw that lead again to bait her for the counter here.
Yeah, but doing it the right way, not rushing it, just trying to set it, trying to put it off that jab. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Whereas, like the success she had in the round before could maybe put the thought in her head to really try and press this fight. But she's doing it controlled, as you can see there, in and out with the feet, countering, just stepping back, creating that distance again, and then she'll pop that jab off in a sec. There you go, and off to sea.
Every time she throws that right hook, it causes Kiss problems. Whether it hits her off balance or it shakes her to her boots, it always has an effect.
Well, so overall, they'll look at this as her 6th contest, as her most accomplished performance yet. The kind of progression that Anthony Crolla will have wanted to have seen from his fighter, as Adina Kiss just wings away as Dixon steps to her. 10 seconds on the clock. The seconds ticking down now. Adina Kiss goes back to her corner after a hard night's work.
She's had easier nights, that's for sure. Really had. That was good to watch, actually. For a one-sided fight, which is what it was, that was really good to watch.
How are you feeling? You alright?
There is a decent cohort of 135-pounders around her. Paige Murney turned over a few months ago. Commonwealth and European silver and bronze medalist. Jay Taylor from Salford moving well too. Natalie Zimmer from Germany is moving well, undefeated. Where does Rhiannon Dixon fit into the picture at British and European level? She will no doubt be victorious tonight. It's just a formality. And her and Adina Kiss at centre ring. David Diamante has the scorecards.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing here in Nottingham, we go to referee Marcus Mcdonald's scorecard. It reads 60-54 for your winner. She's still undefeated, Rhiannon Dixon.
Well, some early, I wouldn't call them scares, Barry, but Adina Kiss certainly landed her first share in the first round or two. We're seeing evidence of it right there. Just rocked Rhiannon Dixon back onto her heels. It was the adjustment she made as the rounds went on that were the difference in the contest.
The first round, she boxed like she likes to box, Dixon. Aggressive, lots of punches. And even though she won that round, she took a few shots. And the adjustment and the maturity in her work to realise she had to adjust and then use that jab and keep it at long distance. And again, I said less is more. She was a bit more, thrifty with her work, but it was more effective. And then as the rounds went on, she applied more pressure, and it looked like at times she was going to get the stoppage, but as we know, Kiss is as tough as they come. But I thought that was a fantastic performance there from Dixon.
Certainly was, and well, she's been, as I mentioned earlier, sparring plenty with Natasha Jonas up at Joe Gallagher's gym, where Anthony Crolla applied his trade for many, many years, and she'll be watching the females in our chief support a little bit later on tonight. Hannah Rankin, the WBA champion at 154 pounds, did it the hard way too. Started in a white collar background herself, teamed up with the same trainer and manager she had all those years ago. They both progressed and grown together, and she's in the hot seat as the champion, defending her title against the former world champion at a far lower weight division. Terry Harper jumping up nearly 30 pounds to challenge at light middleweight. Who will prevail when these two clash in our chief support here in Nottingham tonight?
We're offered to fight Terry Harper. Oh yeah, we want to challenge you for your world titles at 154.
Dare to be great. I want to make a little bit of history.
That is way out of your weight division.
No problem at all.
Pretty reckless decision.
I'm ready for a 10-round war. Andrew! Andrew! Yeah? It's a little bit loud. Can you stop having a good time, please? We're at work here. I'll never back down from a fight. To me, it's crazy. To a lot of other people, it's crazy. It's an opportunity that we have to grab with both hands and the chance to become world champion again. We want to be in these big fights and big nights. Obviously, I'm carrying this extra weight and it's getting my body used to being able to still perform at this heavier weight. I know a lot of people think, oh, you can just go out and eat what you want now, but that's not the case. I'm still following a very strict nutrition plan. Making the lower weights, you're just fatigued and tired, and sessions were hard, and you're kind of just running your body into the ground, whereas now I'm 3 weeks out from the fight. It's the best I've ever felt. I feel nice and full. I'm going to bed with a full tummy. I'm coming into the gym happy. Just little things that make camp a little bit easier and more enjoyable. I feel like I've got the frame. I'm tall and quite big, and I feel like I can float around at the weights and go for the big fights.
Just come back from Miami, 2 weeks out there in the sun. I'm missing the heat, not gonna lie. When I got there, I was not enjoying the heat, but when I come back, I miss it. So yeah, no, I'm feeling really good. Becoming a 2 times world champion, IBO, WBA world champion. Obviously, what people like to say, one of the big 4, you know. It was a very special moment for me. I came into boxing just to see how far I could go. So for me to win one of the big 4, validation for all that hard work that I've put in and the belief I have in myself and the belief my team has in me and what I can achieve as a fighter. Got 2 world titles, sitting all right there with that, pretty happy. We're offered to fight Terry Harper to defend my world titles at 154. Terry's coming back from that devastating knockout against Alicia Baumgardner.
I was young and naive and I didn't really know how to deal with it. I just found myself up there, all eyes on me really, and there's people waiting to see fail and stuff like that. I've really shown myself how much I can pick myself up, dust myself down and just crack on. I've gone away and I've gained experience in and out of the ring. I understand and respect the game a lot more.
I was really surprised to get a request, oh yeah, we want to challenge you for your world titles at 154. I was like, that is way out of your weight division. Absolutely miles out of your weight division. But I was like, by all means, you know, this is a fantastic platform for me to showcase my skills.
Great fighter, I got a lot of respect for her. She didn't come from a big amateur background. They've really grafted, creating opportunities for herself, and that's what her and Noel's done, so I got respect for that and I respect her as a fighter.
Obviously Terry's a former world champion herself, so it's not to be disrespected. You know, she's done very well at the lower weight classes and she's been quite dominant. She's going to come up from the lower weights, got combination punches, some footwork, and I'd expect her to use those things. She's going to need them.
Go.
She's been down to the gym and we shared rounds, sparring.
Releasing sparring footage, if that makes him feel better, you know, I think she's been feeling quite insecure about the fight, to be perfectly honest, because, you know, she's coming up so many weight classes.
Mainly people having questions and doubts and thinking we're stupid for going up so many weights, but it was mainly just to put out there and show everyone that I can handle the heavier weights and maybe a few mind games and stuff, but
I think it's been very disrespectful the way that they've behaved. I'm the world champion. They're coming to challenge me for my titles. So I think, you know, whatever makes them feel better to say that they feel strong and good at the weight, that's fine.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not daft. I'm not going to go off a spar that we've had all them months ago. I'm expecting the best version of Hannah on the night. Hopefully she's expecting the best version of me also. I'm ready for a 10-round war. This is her weight division. This is where she's comfortable at. It's the first time I'm fighting at such a heavy weight. I feel like I just need to be smart on the night and just not playing into their hands.
In this fight, I think you're going to see a real sort of like level up from my last fight. I'm building on how I finished the last fight, dominating, absolutely dominating. And whether I win this fight on points and Terry survives the 10 rounds, or I knock her out cold, it doesn't matter. I'll leave that ring with those 2 belts and my arm raised.
Got any message for Hannah we can pass on?
No? No trash talk from me. Andrew, have you got out to the
Barry, as a former super featherweight champion yourself, the comparison between you going up and fighting somebody at 154, it doesn't quite translate to the women's game because there's less of a size discrepancy between the weights. But I think we were all surprised just how physically strong Terry Harper looked and how equal she looked in size at the weigh-in yesterday.
She looked like a light middleweight, a super welterweight, sorry, didn't she? Really did. So, and it was, then you look at it and think, how did you make super featherweight?
Yeah,
because she's tall as well, by the way. She's over 5'8".
Yeah, and the flashbacks between the VTs from the fight with Baumgartner and her interview, you could just see how different she looked, couldn't you?
Yeah, there was a huge difference, and maybe there was when you struggle to make weight, of course you are weak, and then your resistance is much less, of course, and also more than that, when you're struggling to make weight, you're lethargic and you don't see things as clear. So all those things could have been a factor for that fight, or she was just in against a woman who can punch really hard and is good in Baumgartner, which I think is a case of both there. But it's still a big step up. It's a real gamble.
Yeah, we'll find out who will prevail a little bit later on. That is our chief support, Hannah Rankin and Terry Harper, WBA Super Welterweight title on the line. But third hit up here on our last contest on Before the Bell, Janae Bostan and Anas Isati to bring the fighters to the ring. As always, here's David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Motor Point Arena here in Nottingham, we are set to go with a 6-round super welterweight affair. Now making his way to the ring, please welcome Anas Machiavelli Isarti.
Well, a classic bit of two-pack to bring Anas Machiavelli Isarti to the ring, undefeated Belgian prospect who's travelled around the USA sparring to learn his craft. Turned over in May against Anton Nakic in Belgium. He's quite light on his feet, half-decent jab, and from his first couple of fights, he likes to be the boss and let his hands go. He can be vulnerable in those moments too. Busted Nakic up early in his debut in May. Janae Bostan is a very different prospect to imagine anybody that he's encountered so far in his career. He wants to remain undefeated, to exchange some pleasant jibes back and forth at the press conference on Thursday. They bumped into each other in the lift again. There's respect between them. I think this one could catch fire pretty early indeed.
And now entering the arena, please welcome the young undefeated charge from Rotherham, Junaid Bostan.
Well, he gave me a little preview of his ring walk music, Murder, She Wrote. And he's a young man who is desperate to entertain and prove just how good he can be. He's been a well-kept secret on the boxing circuit until quite recently. I can remember a chap called Damien Lithgow, coach at Legion's Gym in York, sent me him as one to watch about 2 or 3 years ago now. And when he popped up on Dalton Smith's undercard a few weeks ago, Grant Smith said after tonight he'll no longer be a secret, and he was right. There's plenty of evidence of his quality, power, switch-hitting ability, and that kind of cold swagger that has been notorious with the Ingles Gym where he spent his early days. But he's in exceptional company these days under Grant Smith's tutelage at the Steel City Gym. Sonny Edwards and Dalton Smith as role models to show him and set an example of what's required if he's to turn his considerable talent into titles and a boxing legacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Nottingham, England, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Stagefront, FCI Markets, and JD Sports. Introducing your third man in the ring at the sound of the bell from Newark, A-star referee, Mr. Kevin Parker. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the solid black trunks. He scaled 10 stone, 13 pounds, 6 ounces. His professional record thus far perfect, 2 fights, 2 victories. Fighting out of Brussels, Belgium, please welcome Anas Machiavelli Isarti. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the white with the green trim. He scaled 11 stone, 9 pounds, bang on. His professional record, also a perfect one. 2 fights, 2 victories. Both of those victories came by way of knockout. He fights out of Rotherham. Here is a 2-time amateur national champion, Junaid Bostan. Bostan.
You both know the rules. I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. 6 rounds, lads. Touch gloves.
Well, Junaid Bostan was savage on his debut against poor Alexis Werner. Broke him up in about 4 minutes of action, and just something about his attitude the last few days, signing with Matcham after a really good first run out in front of Eddie Hearn on Dalton Smith's undercard a few weeks ago. He really senses that now his time has come. But, well, Anas Isati, as he said to me yesterday, would stand and trade with him, and he wanted that. And exchanged hooks straight at centre ring. Impression, Barry, from someone like Junaid Bostan. He needs to know there's a threat in front of him to switch on and for us to see the best in him. And Isati just lost his foot in there, but he's lively early.
Yeah, he is. And no, when you've got someone like Bostan, you have, you can't give him time to set himself. You've got to put a lot of pressure on him. But with that, you might walk on the shots. What Bostan does so well is he moves around the target, so close to it. He's almost impossible to hit clean.
We saw the adept switch hitting of Mohamed Samir in our first contest here on Before the Bell, and Bostan is a brilliant switch hitter too. Fizzes an uppercut from Southport, and now just starting to establish his range and distance against Anas Isati.
That straight backhand from Bostan, so effortless, just pops it and just lets it go and doesn't change his stance, doesn't change position from him at all, and just resets and goes again. So comfortable.
And the punches are snappy as well, aren't they? Nice and sharp. Isati landed with a couple of jabs, but he needs to double it up.
Sparred with David Avanesian plenty, so he knows about pressure. I asked him what the experience is like. I think just 18 or 19. He said, yeah, he said he's solid, he hits hard. He believes in his own ability there, just turning the shoulder and peeling off to the side. Back on that jab.
He's got the reach and the height, and he uses it well, doesn't he, Bostan?
A little touch to the body, that jab after the combinations as well, just to offset the rhythm of Isati, and he's under some real pressure here.
Bostan doing really well there, but that jab, mixing it up, keeping it high, low, different paces, sharp and then slower, really just keeping Isati guessing and just wondering what's going on.
And you mentioned the Samir fight, and Bostan does it, little twitches, doesn't fake, just little twitches, and that just means Isati just can't set himself.
Yeah, especially for Isati, so he's really trying to push the fight on. A little twitch, a little feint will just offset them, give you half a second to readjust and reevaluate the situation, and then get something off of your own.
Solid jab. Heavy-handed, sharp. Sonny Edwards said the most talented fighter he's ever trained alongside, and when you think who's been in that gym in the last couple of years, that's some statement.
But look at the fight. A good trainer's worth his weight in gold, but you learn so much, you learn more from the fighters around you. And he's around Dalton Smith and Sonny Edwards every day of the week, so you can see the influence there, can't you, on him?
Dalton Smith, the new British champion at 140 pounds, just ready in the stall for Bostan in his corner. Well, they wasted no time getting straight to it. Isati landed a right hand there and just got his ankle caught behind Bostan's. But, well, other than the first 15 seconds, he was right on the end of it, the Belgian.
But again, that's testament to the movement there, the Bostan, where Isati threw the right ankle, Bostan was there, but by the time he had to go, Bostan's already taken a half a step back, and he had to overreach for the shot, and that's why he lost his footing. I think that was a good round there for Bostan. And again, he's got that arrogance. You can tell he's trained in the England gym as well, because he got that aura of arrogance around him, haven't he? That I'm here, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm just going to do this, and you can't stop me.
Touch him, then come up big.
So when we go to the second round, hands low, Bostan just thumping that jab out from the orthodox position, up through the middle of the guard. Isati trying to respond with his as well.
Again, ones and twos, popping it once, popping it twice, different variations of speed is what keeps Isati guessing and keeps Isati paused in situations.
Yes, and spot on. And the thing with Isati, he knows what he has to do. He has to put pressure on Bostan. But how do you when you've got a guy who won't keep still? A guy who's going to, every time you take a step forward, he's going to hit you with that hard southpaw jab or that looping left hand. So you've got to try and rush your feet a little bit. When you throw that jab, double stab with the foot, get a bit closer, quicker, and hit anything. Don't aim for the head. Hit the shoulders, hit the chest, hit what you can. Just stop that movement. Try and get a panic in Bostan's work if that's possible.
Lands a left hook over the top. Isati there. Bostan trying to bait him into something, and he did draw out a lead, and he landed it too. Catches him with another one there. Bostan responds with that double jab.
Good.
Stiff impact. Landed that right hand, full extension. Left hook under the elbow as well. Rolls under the counter there, and now just starting to put some pressure on Isati. He's trying to fire back, but he's missing in between Bostan's combinations. And this is really good work from the Rotherham fighter.
And that's what takes your soul. And when you throw a shot, when you get hit, you throw a shot and you miss, and they make you pay for that mistake. And they move their feet. That's what the Ingle fighters did so well, and that's what you're seeing Boston showing it there really well.
Now starting to pick some heavy singles and turning the screw. Minute to go in this second round, and already Isati's starting to feel the pace. If the legs just stiffened a little bit there. Bostan just sensing a moment here as Isati just tries to tie him up. Not necessarily obvious on the screens at home, but we're just 3 or 4 feet away from the action. And Isati's caused something that maybe just sat him down on his heels there. Just thumps an uppercut through the middle himself. Bostan,
there's a body shot there.
Relaxed.
There's a body shot there for Bostan. Just see, he had him on the ropes there, and there's a big gap underneath that elbow.
Lovely switch on the turn there again from Bostan, just posing another problem to the Belgian. Hands low, dancing around the outside, enjoying himself in a rhythm, and in a spiteful rhythm as well.
Bostan's got great punch variation. He's shooting in different places, especially with that switch here as well. He can just keep shooting from different places. But if he can touch that body, he might open himself up another gap. But he's, again, that sharp jab's just working well. That's 1-2 down the pipe is working cleanly for him.
Well, that's the shot you mentioned, Fabio, that double jab right hand straight down the middle, and he's having success with it because there's so much variation with his other work, the wide shot, southpaw orthodox, that when he does eventually set that shot down the middle, it's almost the last thing that Isati's expecting.
Yeah, he sets it up in so many different ways, where he's switching, he's here, there and everywhere, and then he goes straight down the pipe, and Isati does not see it coming at all.
And what he does so well, Bostan, is when he gets you on the ropes, he throws a couple of shots, but he changes direction. He moves his feet over to the side, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So you can't fire back. He's got a whole new angle of attack.
He's there, he shoots, and then he's gone to the left or the right of you.
Yeah, and how do you defend against that?
Yeah,
it's
frustrating.
Just cover it up, don't you? That's all it is.
Seconds out, round 3.
So into the third round we go. Isati under some considerable pressure in the second round. Bostan now just like a predator on the outside, stalking his prey, looking for an opening. Senses now he's in full control of the man in front of him. Knows there's a little bit of danger coming back, but it's been punched out of him for the most part in that second round, and he's just starting to pick some heavier singles. Isati still just trying to inch that front foot forwards, but he is walking straight into the path of danger, trying to take his head off that line and minimise the impact of the shots that Bostan's throwing. Bostan just lays it in, relaxed, focused, and a little bit of nastiness in him, Barry, but that's going to be important as things go up the chain. Need that little bit of spitefulness and And again, just that double jab, right hand behind it.
He just flicks that uppercut, but it's not really a heavy shot, but it's so fast. He whips the head up enough for him to get that left hook to whiz across the chest.
Just enough to pick up his opponent's head for something else, for a left hook or another right hand over the top.
He's tried Asati, but you can't allow Bostan to get in a rhythm like he is now, because it's almost game over already.
Yeah, he looks a little bit lost in there, doesn't he? There's so much coming at him, and it's so hard to tell where. There's a corkscrew lead uppercut from Orthodox. Fizz the right hand round the side of the guard behind it, and just slips and dips and makes him miss 3 or 4 there.
See, when you can't see the punches coming, you do what you should do. You cover up. You get a shell-like defense, and you stay safe. But with that, means you can't see what's coming again. So then, Bostan makes you miss, swings on the target, hits you. You go into a shell, then he can beat you up. It's almost like you're doing the right thing, but getting the wrong result.
Yeah, there's no win situation out of that, is there at all? You just keep losing. Especially with someone like Bostan as well. He's just mixing that jab up, look, now floating, popping, and then in a second he'll probably sit and find something nice and strong. It's just so difficult to time yourself and figure out what you're doing in there.
I think with someone like Bostan, you've got to stay low, you've got to quicken your feet up to get to the target, and you've got to go low but aim high. There's a target there for that right hand over the top. If you jab to the body, your feet got to be quick enough to get into range and do it so quickly.
As well as keeping your head off centre as well. Just a little bob left, little bob right, just weaving on your way in. There's not letting Bostan keep picking you as he is.
Lovely little catch and shoot there with the same hand from Janae Bostan. Just digs in with the left to the body as well as he stepped to Misati.
Lovely smooth work here from Bostan.
Just got caught inside the hook there with a jab from Isati, something to hang on to at the end of a dominant round from Janae Bostan. Let's listen in to Grant Smith.
You say different?
No, very good rounds, but you're taking it too easy.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's stay disciplined. You're going to sleep with this guy. You're getting bored, don't get bored. All right?
Yeah.
You've got to keep switched on. You're looking $1 million and landing beautiful combinations. Then you get bored because it's too easy and switch off.
Yeah, man.
All right?
Keep him long like that. You know when he's doing the same, all he's doing is keep up, close the gap, short uppercut. He never throws that back then. Yeah, he never throws the back. Exactly.
Because
keep him long. Keep him long then. Fence. Close the gap, uppercut up inside.
And then push him off and work again.
You can get an idea, even for those of you that haven't met him, of the kind of kid that he is. So talented, but he needs taskmasters around him to keep him on task, and that was exactly the advice he needed in between those rounds.
Well, I know this new saying, there's all these new sayings now, Chris, and you got most of them, but there's there's trainers and teachers, all that sort of thing. And you can hear in the corner that Grant Smith said, he's a teacher.
Yeah, there's sound advice there from Grant for someone who's Bostan is really, he's cleaning the rounds. They're comfortable for him. He knows what he's doing. They're easy. But Grant, just to say, settle yourself. Don't get carried away. Don't get sucked into silly punches, silly catches, and just control the fight all the way through.
But it's like new schooling, isn't it? So you got a lesson, but it's sandwiched by 2 compliments. You're doing really well, but your boxing could be dominating.
He is focused, he is switched on now, Bostan. Standing in front of Isati, trying to put some weight onto these shots and really test the Belgians' resistance.
There's that left hook to the body, though, screaming for Bostan to let it go. That's lovely head movement there.
Good. Just sold in the left hook to the body there and came upstairs with it. Just caught on the return there, just stayed in front of Isati a little bit too long. Credit to the Belgian as well. He hasn't taken much of a back step, even under intense fire. He's tried to hold his ground and fire back. It's his only chance, really. If he starts giving Bostan too much momentum, he will have it all his own way, if he isn't already.
Yeah, he's pressed the whole fight. He's not let anything really deter, and which has worked well for Bostan. It's worked in his favour. Obviously, him being a counter puncher or switch hitter, but Asati needs to come up with a bit of a different plan there. Like Barry was saying, that right hand over the top is there, and there you go.
Well, an uppercut that was here from Bostan. A tough kid, isn't he, this Asati?
He is. He really is. Trained and managed by Alexander Polizzi, had a decent career domestically between about 98 2007 as well. Fought Paul Smith, and he was about 18-0 up in Liverpool. He's got good advice, and well-schooled teacher himself in his corner. And he is right up against it here, pressing himself forward. 15 seconds on the clock in the 4th round. 2 to go here in Nottingham. Bostan just pirouettes around him again.
The problem he's got here is that he's not safe from distance, he's not safe at close range either. But he is trying to push forward. Again, whether he's on the ropes or he's advancing forward here. Bostan, he's always dominant, always the one landing with the bigger shots, the cleaner work. They're making a Saudi miss. You've got to commend the effort, but he's just not getting the results, and that's demoralising when you're having to take punches like that on a regular basis.
Yeah, he won't want to take too many of them as he goes up the levels, but doesn't seem remotely bothered about taking those clean.
Yeah, them moments you see there are the ones that Grant are referring to about getting a bit lazy, getting a bit comfortable, a bit lazy with your work, and knowing that you're bossing the fight and just taking it too easy, which is a bad habit you don't want to get into.
Yeah, doing things you can, just not that you should. He stalls out into the penultimate round on Before the Bell here. And a really good opening segment to the show. Wins for Mohamed Samir, Rhiannon Dixon. Janae Bostan is in control of the undefeated Anas Isati, who has been game, he's been tough, and he's landed enough in each round just to give him a little bit of hope. But again, just a left jab, but then Bostan always replies with something spiteful, eye-catching, heavy.
Well, the problem that Asati's got, when he lands with a shot, he's so worried about what's coming back that he's not been able to work off that, to capitalise on any success that he is gaining.
Yeah, and that's credit. To be fair, that's credit to Bostan's work. He's always replying. He's not just let Asati get something off and get away with it. He's always replied with something. He's gave him a feint or a move or something, just again to keep him thinking, keep him guessing. And
and also when you throw a shot, and then when you land with the punch, you don't know where it's coming back. The angles are always a different. There's always a different shot coming from a different angle.
Yeah.
Asati just dropped off the line after that jab to the body, evaded that chopping right-hand counter from Bostan, but he really is starting to show the marks of battle here.
And ironically, a good shot from Asati. And the response
great combination there.
See Asati, he's in distance to throw, but if it's not a perfect shot, he doesn't want to let it go.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Fabio, just the tentativity that the early spiteful shots combined with those feints as time has gone on just caused that hesitation, and it's bought Bostan the time that he needs to work, and it's robbed Asati of the opportunities that he may see in fleeting moments to land meaningful shots, and it's been the difference between the pair of them.
Yeah.
And he's brave, he's super tough, and he's got the will to win here, just not the skill.
Well, it's like Barry said, there's been moments there where Asati's been in range, but Bostan's made him think too much in the previous rounds, where he's hesitant to even throw now. He doesn't know whether he should go, whether he shouldn't go, what's going to come back.
Oh, Bostan just dropped the shoulder. Watch that jab sail past and thump the uppercut through the middle. Beautiful timing on the counters. And just a look of despondency just momentarily crept across the face of Asati. Another lead uppercut. He's still landing though, the Belgian, but that's pea shooter stuff against more heavy artillery, and a lovely left hand from southpaw down the middle again from Bostan, and again.
We say heavy artillery, and it looks that way with Bostan, but to be fair to Asadi, he hasn't looked really hurt once.
No, that's true.
He's been knocked back a little bit, but I think that's because he's not seeing the shots coming and knocking him off balance, but he's never looked in real distress.
Yeah, he's always kept marching forward. Nothing's really deterred him too much.
You can switch on for 1 round.
Sharon Grant Smith say you need to just switch on for 1 more round, and he probably caught in that round actually more than any other round in the contest, probably because he was looking for a little bit more damaging shots and standing in front of Isati more than he has at any point in the contest so far.
He did, but also because he is always pushing Asati back, there's not as much purchase on the shots that Asati would like, and also there's never more than 1 shot with Asati because there's already, as Fabio said, he's waiting for something to come back, so he's too tentative to let his hands go in combinations, which is what he needs.
Corners 10 seconds. If it's out, 6 and final round.
I see Dalton Smith in the corner there saying give him a nudge with the left shoulder, put the right uppercut through the middle. Maybe he'll do it from southpaw. Leads off with the left hand. 3 minutes to go. Can Junaid Bostan put a dent in Anas Isati? He looks unlikely, the Belgian to flip the script now. He's a long way behind. It's not winnable for him on the cards. He'll need something big. Just fires the jab up. Lovely response to the body from Bostan.
See, that there's an example of never letting Asati get away with anything. That's why he's so hesitant, is that because Bostan's always replied, and like that slippery shot on the inside there, one to your stomach, that makes you then, second time around, think, hang on, do I want to go again?
Well, you're throwing your shot with a view of expecting something back, so how can you fully commit to the punch? That's a good shot, and again there from Asati.
Yeah, just caught on the turn there, Bostan, but he's just walking his man down, walking through the shots, just look for a little guard pull down there. Fizzes a counter uppercut through the middle. Asati trying to fire back with a jab.
They're them little spiteful moments for him, where he turns him, spins him, doesn't care if his opponent's ready, waiting or whatever, he's ready to shoot and fire.
Oh, lovely lead uppercut there. There's that left hook under the elbow too. Spiteful stuff as Asati still finds the grit to respond. He's really under fire here. Bostan just turning the screw. With over a minute to go on the clock in this 6th and final round. You have to say, for a young prospect, his engines look good too, because it hasn't been a lightning work rate, but he's turned the heat up as the rounds have gone on, showing no signs of fatigue at all here.
And he's 20 years of age, let's not forget that. Do you know what I mean? He's dominating here, quite comfortable. Of course he's going to showboat. Of course he's going to take his foot off the gas or lack concentration now and again. He's a young man, but good shot there from Bostan, right hand over the top.
Can he finish him?
And Bostan now just starting to turn the screw. Asati looking a little bit weary here. 40 seconds on the clock, and a lead uppercut comes through the middle, turns that right hand over, snaps the head back, and the legs are suddenly looking a little bit unsteady, and he's really putting some meat behind these shots. Referee having a good look at Asati. It's all over, right at the death. Junaid Bostan stops an undefeated prospect in his tracks. And well, it was a brilliant performance from 1 to 6, and he put the punctuation on it with the stoppage, and the right decision from the referee, Barry, because I think Asati would have hung on for as long as he physically could, but he was taking a hell of a beating there.
Do you know what was impressive about that? He had him on the rails, and he didn't rush his work. He picked every shot, because you could hear the sound of the shot. You could just feel the panic in Asati. You didn't know where they were coming from. It wasn't a flurry of punches like most young 20-year-olds would throw like a lunatic.
Yep.
He took his time, picked the shot, but he was still busy. That was a fantastic finish
Yeah,
a fantastic performance.
He never smothered himself. Once he had him going, as you'll see like here, he just kept them shots from range and clean, and keeping his eye on his opponent, on where he is and where his head's going, where his body's moving, never over-exerting himself, overextending, smothering anything at all, and getting those clean long shots off that just really snap Asati's head back like that.
And there would have been a criticism if that would have went a distance. The only criticism would have been a great display from a young kid, but does he have the power? Does he have that, that killer instinct to get him out of there? Well, he left that question to be answered for another fight, because he did a fantastic job, and when he had him on the rails, he didn't let him off the hook.
Certainly didn't. He has got the stoppage right at the death to cap things off on Before the Bell. Let's head over to David Diamante for the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kevin Parker calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 2 minutes and 38 seconds of the 6th and final round, declaring your winner by TKO. He's still undefeated, Junaid Bustan.
Well, these two bumped into each other in the lift in the hotel a couple of days ago. Isati said, "I'll be 3-0 tomorrow night." Bustan said, "No chance," and it is the home fighter who's prevailed in pretty emphatic fashion after a really, really good, entertaining scrap over 6 rounds. Fabio, impressed with what you've seen of this lad so far?
Yeah, very impressed. And like Barry says, 20 years old, there's still so much there to learn and so much there to get a hold of. And even then, there's a lot of moments there where they're a very mature performance, and it was a very mature finish as well. Like I said myself, he didn't overstep the mark, he didn't smother his work too much, he kept his opponent at range and kept working him all the way through the 6 rounds, and then obviously put the exclamation mark on it with the finish, which I'm sure he's overjoyed with.
Took a few shots in there over the course of those 6 rounds, Barry Jones, but chin seems to be absolutely fine. We don't really know what kind of puncher Isati is, but certainly you can always tell from a young fighter's reaction how they are with getting hit. He seems absolutely comfortable.
How dare he get in a boxing ring and take punches? Who does he think he is? No, but I think that's when you got a talented prospect, you almost criticise him for taking shots, don't you? Because he makes it look so easy for times. You're thinking you shouldn't be taking punches, and maybe he shouldn't. But he's already, by the time he's taking shots, he's already had that guy, panicking, not too afraid, too tentative, want to throw more than one shot at a time. And he was already the boss, controlling everything in there at that point. And he was only really taking shots when he was trying to be over aggressive. But I thought it was a great display. He showed off his repertoire skills, the lovely movement around the target, close range. And then when he had him hurt in the last round, he got the finish. A bit like this man next to me, not rushing his work, but spiteful with every shot.
Certainly was. Well, that is all from the action here on Before the Bell. Plenty to come on DAZN the other side of 7 o'clock, and plenty to come on DAZN over the next few weeks as well.
September 17th, 2010 was my debut. All the hard work and the experience that I've gained over years, the tough fights that I've had, are all now starting to pay off.
Maxi has taken that attitude of hard work and hard graft to build on his career. Who knows what might still be in store.
Maxi Hughes, a class apart, and what a resurgence it has been for that man there.
In this game, the only time you lose is when you stop. You have to get back up and go. September the 24th, and you're going to see a different animal in there.
He's rock solid mentally. How he's powering those fists.
Looking, he says, to move on to much greater achievements.
Coming up 2 weight divisions to challenge me, then this is my division, this is my belt. He wanted this fight, he called me out.
I'm better than him in every single department.
Who do you think you are?
I'm the new.